Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Cindi Howson, Chief Data Strategy Officer at ThoughtSpot and host of the Data Chief podcast. I'm thrilled to introduce Shiv Nayak from EasyJet, Head of Data and AI Architecture. So Shiv and I have two very important questions to start with. How many of you have been working in the data and analytics space for more than 10 years? Raise your hands. More than 10 years. I know, so only about a quarter of you. How many of you have been less than 10 years? That should be everyone else. All right, just making sure it's all working. How many of you have had a phenomenal trip with EasyJet in the last 5 years? Oh, Shiv, a lot of potential customers for you. Good. Well, as I think about our industry, we are just at an incredible time. But we have a challenge. As an industry, we spend over 105 billion pounds annually collecting the data. This is just storing it. If you are only just storing it and not putting it in the hands of business users, the point of impact, it's just a cost. And your jobs, you're just a cost at risk. So what we want to cover in this session is how to make it true self-service at the point of impact. And it's been a mission that I have been on for 30 years now. Some of you, so about a third of you, have been on this mission for more than 10. For the rest of you, it's maybe a new concept. And I started my career in data and analytics when I was working for Dow Chemical in Switzerland, and my first Oracle SQL class was in the great city of Slough. My first fish and chips 30 years ago. And I look at the way state-of-the-art continues to change. So we've always talked about self-service analytics, but the technology had to go through some evolution. The concept of one central data warehouse and a semantic layer with business objects, MicroStrategy. It's not working? It's a bit low. Okay. Can you hear me better now? Yes, thank you. The concept of a centralized semantic layer with business objects, Cognos, this really was self-service for the report developers, the people in IT. The next wave of innovation, we would say, is self-service for the data analysts with the likes of Tableau, Qlik, Spotfire, but we were still not really getting to the business users. So I first met ThoughtSpot, then a startup in 2014, who had the unique value proposition of using natural language processing and AI-generated insights to put the data in the hands of the business users. But look at where your data was in 2016. Much of it was on premises. The pandemic changed all of that, compressed digital transformation, accelerated cloud migration, and now more than 60% of the data is in a cloud. But not just one cloud. You may have a dual cloud strategy, some in Databricks, some in Snowflake, some in Google BigQuery, and we connect to all of that. So the concept of the modern data stack, and at Big Data London 2 years ago, this conference was the first to recognize the modern data stack as a way of modernizing your whole architecture, from data to analytics. Those of you that modernized, you are in a better position to take advantage of generative AI. So with generative AI, it makes the search layer that ThoughtSpot patented and is proven in market for more than a decade now even easier. Trust and complexity of your data models are some of the biggest differentiators that we have. You may hear a lot of vendors talk about Gen AI on BI, but it's not proven in the market. We have it proven, and on all your data. So when customers come to ThoughtSpot, they tell us they have 4 key reasons why they selected ThoughtSpot. One, they want true self-service for the business users to enhance decision making. Not just for the data analyst, but we elevate the data analyst from working on the drudgery of dashboards with 1,000 tweaks. It also is trust, so highly governed transparency of what's going on. And then a complete analytics platform, because you're all being asked to do more with less. So we help you with that productivity at a lower total cost of ownership. And finally, you're also able to embed. If you missed the Ask Bosco session yesterday, that'll be on demand in a couple weeks, and they're using embedded. So there's 2 ways that you can deploy ThoughtSpot. Standalone as a trusted analytics platform, the way EasyJet is started, or embedded inside a portal, or if you're looking to monetize your data. So with that, Shiv, why don't you come on this side? So Shiv, first tell everyone a little bit about your role at EasyJet.
Can you hear me? Better, yeah? Better than her, yeah? Right, so I've been with EasyJet since last 2.5 years now. So I do manage data and AI architecture. So I'm part of the strategy and architecture team within EasyJet. So I report to director of architecture and the innovation side of it. And then he reports to CDIO as well. So it was kind of I would say, a bigger transformation journey for me in the last 2 years, specifically in EasyJet. We started looking into entire estate of data across EasyJet, and there were a lot of bespoke applications sitting in there. So I think that's a common across all other industries as well. So you all have on-premise solutions. You might have had Hadoop solutions. So we had similar challenges. So we went to a data strategy directions, and we started bringing in a data platform, a consolidated unified data platform for us. Then we started looking into the different products, likes of capabilities, what we need to bring in. So we started looking for exploration of some kind of analytical tool, what we needed for the next set of 5 years. So that's where we got to know that ThoughtSpot is the right direction for us. So we tried and tested in holidays first. So holidays, I mean, if for everybody's benefit, holiday is one of our within our group we have one more business, holidays. So we tried and tested within the holidays because holidays is the startup journey for us.
Yeah. So holidays is kind of a separate business unit from the airlines.
Yeah.
A little more able to innovate faster. Is that right?
Yeah. So being a startup kind of a business for us, we want to try and test a lot of technologies with more agility over there. So we tried and tested ThoughtSpot, and it was mind-blowing experience for us, especially when we started rolling out more than 200 users within 6 months' time.
So why mind-blowing? So I mentioned 4 reasons that customers often tell me why they're evaluating.
Yeah.
How much of that rang true, or what was the problem Holidays was trying to solve?
Yeah. So to give an example, right? So holidays, when we talk about holidays, you have hundreds of hotels we do business with. So we have to go back to the individual hotels and start discussing about what kind of pricing we can adopt with those hotels and what kind of products we can onboard from those hotels. So our main challenge was all around going back to them, and we used to go with sheets, PowerPoint dashboards, and we used to discuss about the negotiating prices. So where we took a prototyping exercise in holidays, specifically, let's try with the ThoughtSpot one single use case in this scenario, and then we built iPad and mobile reporting. We directly entered into mobile reporting. We didn't bother too much on the desktop reporting on day one. So the entire mobile reporting has been pushed onto the iPads and mobile devices. And then these negotiating team, they used to directly go back to the hotel's team, and they used to show all sort of data sets, and including the drill down options, and then the generative AI features what you're talking about.
So this is very different. Before, they took reports that data analysts made them
That's
either
right.
printouts, PowerPoints. So now you have the salespeople negotiating
Yeah.
with the hotels, actually drilling live on the iPads.
Directly on the mobile
On the
devices.
mobile.
Yes.
And were they also using, so one of the key differentiators is natural language search.
Yes.
Were they also using that?
Yes, yes, yeah. So
Okay.
as they start conversation with the vendors, when I say vendors, hotel business team, so they used to keep on asking these kind of questions on a natural language basis. Say for example, they might be asking some questions say that whether this product from this hotel has performed well, how good it was in last 1 year or 6 months. So that's the time it used to take out all sort of the inbuilt dashboards what it comes with. And then, of course, they used to go back to the drilling options on top of it.
Right.
A specific, say, for example, in June, why didn't had much, the sales for that particular hotel for that particular product. So
Yeah.
they used to show that and give that insight back to them as well, so that they can understand where exactly they can improve. So
Okay.
that's where it was really useful for us.
Yeah, and performed well sounds like a simple question.
Yeah.
But you did a very competitive evaluation
Yeah.
of other BI tools. So I don't want you to name the other BI tools
Right.
because we like respect. But what was the difference that you noticed in ThoughtSpot in the original Bake Off or POC?
I think yeah, so every BI tool has their own features, right? So we cannot compare apple to apple or apple to orange, right? So there are some of the key features which in fact we started laying out some of the capabilities what we need to have it in the data analytics space. One was how we can build more truly self-serve driven approach.
So the salespeople
Exactly.
asking their
exactly.
own. Right.
And then with lesser involvement of IT.
Okay.
You don't no need to build this dashboard by IT team. And then, instead of that, build that backend data model and expose that data model back into ThoughtSpot. So that way, on top of that, give that particular workspace, we call it as a workspace within ThoughtSpot, bit of technical term over there. So give that workspace back to the business team, and they can play around on the data, whatever they want.
And so the business users like this. Sometimes the data analysts will say they're afraid
Yeah.
that business users will make mistakes, or what is my job? Do you not need me anymore? What's been the reaction?
No. I think of course, yeah, I mean, the day one always you have that hesitation, right? But then as we started, using more and more use cases and showing that example of how this can be possible, then they said, yes, this is reducing my work of more of data analysis because the entire data model has been exposed onto ThoughtSpot. So that time, the entire data set, their correlations and how it goes to the next level of data analysis, it can be done I would say within half an hour.
Yeah.
So that's where they
Half
started.
an hour. And what
with-
did it used to take if they had a new question? Like compare Hilton versus Holiday Inn.
Yeah. So if there are different questions coming in, say for example, one business team working on specific data insight, if they want to see a bit more deeper into that, so your data models are really correlated to each other. So they themselves, if they have access to that with I would say, with the data privacy into it, so we do have all the data privacy framework.
So it's governed.
Exactly,
It's not on a
exactly.
desktop.
No,
Okay.
yeah,
So you have full visibility into what everyone is doing.
exactly, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And then, so you started in holidays and then quickly expanded to airlines.
Yes, yeah.
Tell us what was the original vision and maybe any friction points
Yeah.
as you expanded.
Right. So we didn't quickly expand it into holiday. The airlines, as of we took almost I would say 8 to 10 months to try and test the waters within the holidays, and then we started looking for some of the use cases which are available within airlines. So we did not took any use cases which were running on existing analytical tool. We took some kind of unique use cases, especially in operation space. Then we tried and tested with another set of POCs, and then showcased back again. I'm just stressing on that again, mobile devices, so that executive teams start understanding the benefit of having this particular tool within the organization, and that's
Okay.
where that wow factor started coming
So wait
in.
a minute. The executive team
Yes.
is logging on directly. They're not getting a blessed version of the truth in a PowerPoint deck.
No.
No.
So,
There's industry research to say that the average PowerPoint deck costs $30,000 to create. Like,
is it?
on the exchange rate, I don't know, is that 20,000 pounds? Yeah.
Okay.
It's all the people time and then the static data. So now your executives are logging on live.
Exactly. So to be honest, we have not completely replaced, some of the other areas, but still we are in a work in progress, I would say. But then on day one, when we showed these kind of reports, especially in specific domain, that was kind of, there were pretty good wow factors coming in. People, the executive team level, they are able to drill down the data to the next level. And they used to call to data analysts and asking them, why exactly this anomaly is coming in their data.
Okay.
So now they can do it. And we did, and with the help of your team, we did gone through a rigorous process of training as well, just to make sure that what kind of training we need to give to the executive team and what kind of training we need to give to business team.
So when I hear training, in the days of old, I picture somebody going away for a class, maybe a full day or a 2-day training class.
Yeah.
What's been the level of, what do you mean by training?
Okay, so for executive team, we gave 1 hour of training.
1 hour.
That's it.
Okay.
That's it, to use it on a mobile device. So that's more than enough for them to start getting hold of the data insights straight away. But then for the technical level, of course, you will have a bit more deeper. You will understand how exactly things has to be done behind the scenes before you expose data
So the
into the ThoughtSpot.
admin or the data modeler
Yes, yeah.
does more training. Now, so what's kind of the feedback that you've gotten from the business users, let's say the operations versus the executives? What's been the feedback?
You have, of course, on day one, there are feedbacks like stuff, how can we get this? Because day one, when you started using a new tool, you may not get a complete exposure of how you need to use them. So there were some kind of a feedback started coming in, which was more towards tool-specific feedback. And then there were a couple of feedback where, can we have these kind of features? So then that's the time we started interacting directly with your product team. We got into call, and we are having regular calls as well, once in a 2 months, directly with the product team, saying that we are looking for these kind of features.
Yeah.
Can we have it? And of course, you have your product backlog, and then of course they are trying to make sure that we will get something.
Yeah. So this is important to us at ThoughtSpot. We have a co-innovation model where we listen to what you're trying to do. The industry is changing so quickly. So when you started with ThoughtSpot, you were using our proven, trusted search. Partway through, we added the generative AI capabilities, which we call ThoughtSpot Sage. So before, you might have to say sales, hotels in London. Now you could say sales best performing in Great Britain, or what have you,
yes,
or the city. You would say the city. So tell us about your experience with Sage.
Right. So that's a good point, and that's a specific functionality which is quite interesting in ThoughtSpot, right? So Sage AI, I have seen some of the other tools who are adopting generative AI capabilities. Frankly speaking, they are not up to that mark as of now.
They're not
I'm
up
saying
to that
as
mark.
of now.
Okay, yeah, as of now.
On a cautious
Somebody said it's
way.
a race. Generative AI is a race.
It's
in
a
the
race,
industry.
yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah.
But in what regard, if you don't mind
Yeah,
elaborating?
so I think having that data model properly done behind the scenes with proper metadata coming in. So Sage AI picks up pretty fast in terms of what kind of outputs you need to give it.
Yeah.
So that way, the results, it would be a trial basis. You cannot directly roll out Sage AI for hundreds of users. There might be some kind of different answers coming in each time, right? So what we tried was, we are still trying out as we speak. We tried taking a set of users within business and within technical side as well, just to try and test how exactly results are coming in, and then comparing that with the actual dashboards. Yeah. So that's where it's kind of a, I would say, beta testing in a generic way. So that beta testing is helping us to start fine-tune these model outputs. And then you have, as you said, when you take an output of the dashboards, when it comes to output of dashboard, you have a yes or no option. So it can learn itself, these generative AI models, to see what best answers I should give it next time.
So you have the ability to train it on your data, and then the human in the loop to give the feedback. Did it get that right?
Exactly.
And I use the example for the training as an American, I would say potato chips. As somebody in Britain, you would say crisps. So you can call it crisps, I can call it potato chips.
Exactly.
Or chips and french fries,
Yeah.
we mix up too. So you could train it on your own lingo that EasyJet uses.
Exactly. So we are trying our best with the non-sensitive data, without having privacy data in it. Just to make sure that we are comfortable in terms of what we are, what we are exposing that to LLM models. But otherwise, whatever we are trying out, it's giving a fruitful result so far. So which is good for us, but of course it's a learning curve for us, and we are adopting one by one. The use cases on top of it. Our main, so we have our data DPO, data privacy team, right? So we need to make sure that we are giving complete confidence back to them, making sure that we are not going beyond certain limit in terms of what data we expose to CGI.
Yeah.
So, and also ThoughtSpot product team helping us to drive where exactly, how much data it gets exposed onto LLM. In reality, it does not expose anything. It's just a metadata which exposes into LLM.
Yeah.
So otherwise, there is no challenges. But still, we are a bit cautious in terms of what use cases we need to take it.
Yeah, so you have to educate your team on how we ensure trust of your data. You mentioned fruitful results. What are you allowed to share with the people here in terms of business impact or specific feedback that users have had?
So there are a lot of feedback started coming in. Specifically, they are able to. One biggest feedback was they are able to reduce their work. They used to work for weeks to develop their dashboards and run these dashboards, and then fine-tune those dashboards. Now what's exactly happening is when you're exposing the entire data model into the ThoughtSpot itself, then you are going into completely Kanban approach, the way of delivery. So you just keep taking out prototypes out of it, and then start fine-tuning those prototypes. So that way, the entire analytical work, truly analytical work, which is happening directly with the business itself. So that's where the biggest feedback, which is really fruitful for us, and we are trying to reduce the speed to market approach, especially for the analytical work.
So reduce speed to insight.
Yes.
Are you also measuring the impact? Like we had about a third of people have traveled with EasyJet. How does it give you visibility into what happens when there's a flight delay, like the CrowdStrike, a couple months ago?
We are in that journey, of course. So one of the biggest challenge, what I won't call it as a challenge, right? So it's a normal business in any airlines. There are a lot of third-party interference comes in when there is a disruption happens, right? So what we are trying to do is we are trying to get that insight of where exactly the disruption is happening. So that's one use case. It's good that you mentioned that. That's the one use case we picked up specifically for ThoughtSpot, understanding how fast they understand day-to-day basis. At the, I would say, half-an-hour basis, we are refreshing these dashboards, specifically what we have built with those prototyping exercises. And then we would be able to, we used to get challenges in terms of 24 hours lag in terms of the data coming in. So we built a proper data pipelines, and then getting the results within half an hour back to the executive team, saying that there is a cancellation happening in Gatwick. So what next actions we need to make it? So they, of course, then it goes back to the operations team, that how they can manage that the disruption.
Yeah. So going from an hour and weeks of development to now half an hour really impacts the delight of the traveler.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great. So
Yeah.
as you look, and maybe since you updated the pipelines, are you allowed to share your tech stack beyond ThoughtSpot, or
Oh yeah,
you're not allowed to share?
so we do have Databricks as our data platform. Some of our Databricks colleagues are here. So we do have unified data. So that's what I said. As a part of data strategy direction, we started consolidating entire set of data estate into single place onto a Databricks platform. We are still on journey, to be honest. We still not completed that. But then we started ingesting new data sources as well onto that. Our next direction is all about uh, more real-time enablement.
More real time. So as you look further ahead, real time is important.
Yeah.
What do you want ThoughtSpot to focus on for you, or what's next on your data and AI strategy?
Yeah, it's a good point. So one of the point which you highlighted around embedded analytics, right? So that's where we want to go. There are some areas where we can start thinking about embedded analytics, specifically in the operations space, and Holidays also started thinking about in those areas. So they are kind of a key critical directions for us in terms of how we can utilize the data sitting in Databricks platform,
Yeah.
and then push that into ThoughtSpot, using ThoughtSpot capabilities what we have it.
Yeah, that's great. Another customer that you might be interested in from a European perspective that does embedded is Just Eat Takeaway. It's giving them granular insights on which restaurants are more on time, which meals maybe take longer. So a lot to look forward to. Anything else you want to add on future?
No, I think we have our own roadmap, right, where we need to go. So we are picking up one by one in terms of what we need to do, where we need to concentrate. So our next challenge is how we can roll out for hundreds of
Yeah.
users, whether it's the cabin crew members or the ground staff. So that's where we want to think about how we can do that and how we can roll out those things.
Great, thank you. So to kind of summarize 3 key takeaways, it's about that business value and helping the analysts do more with less, speed to insight. As you think about ThoughtSpot Sage, it's trust and accuracy, privacy with your data, human in the loop on all your data in whichever cloud platform you're using. Start anywhere, whether it's a mobile KPI or a dashboard, or start with a new question.
Sorry, I just
Go
want to
ahead,
add one
yeah.
more point over there. So the point which you're highlighting about the governance, right?
Yes.
So when ThoughtSpot comes in, it in a way, from the architectural and governance point of view, it helps us. Reason because it does not allow you to go and connect to these CSV files sitting in Z drive or many other places. It forces everyone to start using data platform and consolidate data at one place. So
Yeah.
that way you'll have a bit of better governance. And also, to be frank, even DPO team, they can sleep without any challenges,
They
right?
sleep better, yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise, it's a big challenge for them.
Yeah.
Where exactly who is having data in which Z drive, how exactly that's been reported. You don't
Yeah.
have any, you can't see what is exactly happening there. So there is a bit lesser control, but that's what we are helping. The ThoughtSpot is helping us to change that into different directions.
Thank you. That's another great benefit. So you've heard from Shiv and me today, but don't take just our word for it. Gartner, my former employer, read the Magic Quadrant. They cite successful, proven deployments for augmented analytics and composability. So being able to assemble things across the workflow. I also would encourage you, Shiv and I will go back to the booth in the next hallway. If you have follow-up questions, you can take a closer look there. I would also encourage you to download the latest Magic Quadrant to read our differentiators. We are the only standalone analytics vendor. This is our singular focus to be best, to enable you to unlock the value of all your data. And I would also encourage you to tune in to the Data Chief podcast. The latest episode, we have 3 must-read authors, 2 actually from the UK, Jeremy Kahn and Bernard Marr, and we even had Mark Cuban from Shark Tank on the last one. So on behalf of ThoughtSpot and EasyJet, I thank all of you for attending, and have a great Big Data London. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.